Welcome back, everybody. It is Wednesday, Writer Wednesday, and you know what that means? Another morning filled of information from me. Woo! Exciting. Today it's going to be actually kind of cool because I have been learning the bells and whistles of this new program for our Facebook Lives, and I think you're going to like it. So I want to talk about editorial calendars, and I do go into a little bit more detail into the podcast, so I definitely hope you will check it out. But today I actually have some visuals for you as well, because obviously I'm using a Facebook Live and I'm using a program on my desktop, so why not show you what I mean, right? So editorial calendars are really helpful for authors, and they're helpful not just to help you decide what to write, when to write it for your novels, but pretty much anything else that's going to go on for your author platform. So anything from your blogs to your podcasts to Facebook Lives and other videos to obviously any kind of social media that you are going to be doing. And it's really easy to get kind of lost in all of the things when you don't have an editorial calendar, because it keeps you focused and it keeps you from kind of getting completely off the rails and lost. So I use my editorial calendars in a couple of different ways. So I use it for my books. So when I am rapid releasing, I make sure that I have an idea of how all of my editorial stuff is going, when I'm supposed to be writing, when I'm supposed to be editing, when I'm supposed to be publishing, all of those good fun things. And then I also use it for things like newsletters, although that one is really more in my brain instead of on an editorial calendar, because I use my newsletters so frequently, I do it weekly, that I just kind of know Sundays are my day to work on it, Mondays are the day to publish, and then for Author Revolution, it's to work on it on Tuesdays, and then it goes out on Thursdays. And so any of you who have been following me or any of these crazy things for a while, you're going to know that that's kind of the routine, right? It happens almost like clockwork. Podcast happens on Wednesdays, as well as our Facebook Lives. So that's kind of how it works. But when it comes to other things, I do keep track. And so I wanted to show you, I use a couple of different programs. Hey, David, good morning. I use a couple of different programs, and I'm only going to show you two, but I do talk about a number of them inside of the podcast. But I wanted to show you kind of what I do and how it works, and we'll just kind of go from there. So I'm going to use this fancy new tool that I've got, and I'll show you my desktop. So the first one I'm going to show you is Asana and how I use it. Okay, so this one is just for my Facebook Lives and my podcasting, so that I can keep track of what it is I'm trying to do and how I'm going to go about doing it, right? So obviously you can see that January is done, but if I were to go into archives, I'd be able to go back and see everything that I've already finished. Same with February. I know that next week I'm working on 3 acts versus the 4 quarters, and I talk about that at the end of the podcast. And that's how I know what to say when I say, okay, and so next week we're going to be talking about XYZ. That's why, because I already have it laid out, and I have it obviously going out all the way through. Let me see if I can move things around a little bit. I have it all the way through April. I don't know if you can see dates on the end, but you get the gist. And so I go all the way out. I might move things around. If a better topic comes up, I might decide to go ahead and shift it to a different location or whatever. I got to move some of these tools around. I don't know if you can see this, but I do keep all of my information about the books as well. So let's see if I can zoom out so that you can see what I'm talking about. Oops. There we go. So zoom out. There we go. So I don't know if you can see on the left-hand side here, I don't know if you can even see my mouse, come to think of it, but over on the left-hand side where you can see my name, you're going to see Secret Legacy, Soul Legacy, Haunted Legacy, Curse Legacy. Awakenings launch is still there, even though it's done. But that just kind of kept me organized, and those are like the editorial calendars, just keeping me prepped for all of those other things. Now, the other tool that I wanted to show you, though, is really, you can do this in Asana as well, but I wanted to show you another tool, so I put it into MeisterTask. And MeisterTask is really neat as well, because you can move things around kind of like a Trello board. So it's going to look very similar to Trello. And so if you like Trello or have used Trello, go ahead and do it there. But for social media, I do things a little bit differently. I don't try to schedule out every single post that I'm going to do for a week, even though I do post weekly. Instead, what I do is I bulk them into the 2 different types of social media posts I want to do. And so, for instance, my author page, I go ahead and just give themes. So Sundays, in case I ever get lost or forget what the heck I'm doing, I say Sundays are the graveyard chats or excerpts if I decide that I want to do a little quick a little quick sneak peek of the work in progress I'm working on, or even one of the books that I've done before if I feel like it makes sense. Mondays are for motivations or my thoughts. Tuesdays are my favorite things. Otherwise, I flip them around with a couple of different things, but that's kind of the goal. Wednesdays are work in progress. Thursdays are throwback Thursdays or old YouTube's blogs, information that kind of I think would be relevant or funny. Fridays are to share things about my family and my life. Whenever Jenny makes me and she pokes me, she tells me to make sure that I have a picture of myself. I'll try to do that as well. And then Saturdays are silly shares, things that I run into, memes, whatever the case might be. But I do it not just for Carissa Andrews' author page. I obviously do it for Author Revolution. So I have different things that I'm working on and sharing. I don't always follow this either when I'm looking at it now, but I do it as closely as possible. So those are kind of the different ways that you can use editorial calendars to be able to, and honestly, editorial calendars can be as complicated as you want or as simple as you want. So if we go back to that Asana, when you look at it, okay, I think you can see the whole thing now. So when you look at it, you're seeing there's just the title. There is information about who, I can't see it all from my screen. There we go. The assignee, so who's doing it. And then the due date. That's literally all I use for myself for this particular thing. But inside it, like if I were to go into the 4 quarters, it pops out and it gives me more information in. So if I needed to put more notes or ask a question of somebody else on my team or anything along those lines, you can do all sorts of different things. I could add subtasks in here if I wanted to get really fancy, like the fact that every podcast I have to not only write the script, I record it, then I go ahead and I upload it to Libsyn. I master it, then I upload it to Libsyn, then I put it on my blog, and then I go ahead and sign my newsletter and my social stuff off so that those are all going. So those are really kind of, they're very simple, but this is the more complicated of the two because I do go ahead and give it a topic title. Where with social media is really honestly, I'm going to go back over to my eCam here, it really just is doing the theme for the day because honestly, there's so many things that kind of pop up from week to week and you're not always going to know what it is you want to talk about. But if you have a theme, if you go, okay, well, today is obviously going to be Writer Wednesday on Author Revolution, and for me personally, for the author stuff, then it's obviously my work in progress. And so what do I share about that? What kind of news do I have? What kind of excerpts or new bits of information do I want to deliver that will make things fun or interesting or whatever? And it just keeps you from getting lost or forgetting certain aspects of your life too. So as you're kind of trying to figure out what your schedule is, keep in mind, you don't have to post every single day. But whatever you do decide, like let's say you go, okay, I'm going to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, make sure you always post Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 2 reasons. One, your audience will start to learn that routine. And number 2, it's going to be all about the platform that you're using is going to get used to that as well. Because honestly, if you're kind of random, it doesn't know how to analyze the details. And you're probably, like, especially with Facebook, their algorithms really, I guess, focus more on when you're able to do things consistently. So consistency really is key with your editorial calendar. It's key with your writing. I mean, you can't get your stuff done, especially a big monolithic novel in a day. So you have to have that consistent pattern of writing daily, or at least mostly daily, in order to make progress. And the same goes for any other aspect of your author platform when you're trying to do content that is going to go out there to get information about your books, about who you are as an author. And it's really actually very crucial because, unfortunately, we're not living in Dream of Fields, right? We are Field of Dreams. There we go. Oh my God, I think I need some more coffee. Hello. Okay, so yes, it's not a build it and they'll come. It is honestly a nurture it and they will stay. And so you need to make sure that you are doing what you can in order to encourage engagement and to encourage people to feel like they're at home or that they know you. Or, I mean, think about all the authors or the people in general that you really admire And is it because you feel like you know them, or is it just because they post just about their books or just about whatever? You want to get to know them on a personal level, because people are social beings and we like the story behind the story, so to speak, especially with the authors. We like to know that they're real people. We like to know that they have challenges too, or things that are going on, and that includes you. So if you start out the way that you are meant to continue onward, especially as you get further along in your author career, it's going to be better, because now you'll be in a routine. And if you start your editorial calendar as early on as possible, now you're used to it. By the time you're actually adding in different platforms and you're doing different things, it's going to be easy, because now it's not a new tool that you're learning like eCam here. It's going to be something that you've processed and you've tried and you're trying to get better at, and it kind of fades into the background as part of your just habits. So it's something that I definitely encourage doing, and just trying to get as much under your feet, much I guess foundation, there we go, under your feet, so that you are able to go forth and make sure everything is rocking and rolling as you get more books out there and as you have more fans following you. I hope that was helpful. I hope that you were able to kind of follow along. Hopefully the screen recording aspect of this was working okay. And if you have any questions, be sure to drop a comment below and I will answer them. Otherwise, I will see you all next week, same time, same place. All right, go forth and be awesome, guys. Talk to you later.